And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Go Hunt, the official hunting podcast of the Great Longshoreman Cartel. On the dock tonight, we have Vince H., who is blending in, Dave Packard, who is standing out, Mike Gonsalves, who loves fish duck, and I'm Sam. Tonight we have I almost read what I wrote last week, but we didn't actually read that we had a gender confused truck on the show named Nick Dooley.
We still have a gender confused truck on the show. It's just a different gender.
That's not a truck.
Just Class B.
It's a pickup.
Perfect.
Boy. Well, tonight we are supposed to be talking about. I need to do the after action report on my elk hunt, and then Mike did some stuff, and Vince has some stuff, and there's no official topic tonight, so get over it.
The topic is hunting and also fishing, as it happens to be. But yes,
The official topic is Sam and elk.
And how the two don't mix.
no,
Sam's
no,
our
no.
headliner.
I'm a headliner. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
who does
Easy.
If he's headliner, I'm going to
who's
need
opening
something
for me?
stronger than.
If I'm the headliner,
fabric
who's opening
adhesive.
for me?
You are also opening.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Opening for yourself.
This is not how this is supposed to happen.
I am Sam. Hear me roar.
I'm not selling chicken at that show.
Gross.
We are merely the music that is softly played as everybody exits the stadium.
Damn it.
Yes.
Dusky just gave me an idea for a show title. He said salmon elk in the chat, like salmon is in the fish. We could do a show title Sam in elk, like Sam apostrophe in elk.
This isn't Hoth. We're not doing that.
Oh, I'm writing it down, sir. You're on your own.
So one of the
Sam
funniest
in-
things that
Already a
listening
diva.
to history podcasts, the Secretary of, I think, the Treasury during the Lincoln administration was a guy named Salmon Chase. Like, his first name was Salmon, but it sounds like every time the guy says it, it sounds like he's saying Sam and Chase. Like, it's two dudes, like Bill and Ted are the secretaries of finance or whatever it is during the
Turns
Civil
out.
War. Turns out it is Bill and Ted, and they had to take on assumed identities, and it's just like everyone just rolled with it. Like,
You walk in. I'd like to see the Treasury Secretary. Oh, you mean Sam and Chase? Yeah, which one can I see? What?
Sam and Chase.
I want to.
Sam and Chase.
I'll
You're
take
going to
either
see
of
Sam
them.
and Chase.
Well, I'll take either.
Sam
of
and
them.
Chase.
It's
Sounds
like
like a
those
mortgage
conjoined
broker.
twins that are just two heads. And
like,
that's why
bro.
there's no pictures of Sam and Chase, because he had to.
No, that's why he always has pictures from the left side, because he's holding the shrunken head on his right shoulder.
It's like yelling at him, get
Photograph
perfectly
me
in
from my good
profile.
side.
Come on.
Alrighty then.
that was my
Why?
nonsense.
Why? Why are we like this?
I'm all out.
Something had to be.
Okay, I lied. So, Sam, you had a big elk hunt that you went and did, I think, twice.
I already talked about the first couple of days.
Did you?
Weeks ago. Yeah, I went over that when I came back, and then we did have a show on.
No, we
No.
did that
That was
Thursday?
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
was
did
Thursday
Thursday.
or something like that. So now I went back again, and the problem is because we didn't hit this as soon as I got the days after I got back. All the things that I like, oh, I need to talk about this, and then I didn't write down are all gone.
Oh yeah, that actually occurred before the episode with Dooley. So
Yeah.
or-
So I mean, basically, I went back out, and I'm not going to bore you all with all the details. We'll do the exciting. We'll do the first night, which is exciting. I'll briefly overlay the rest of what happened, and then we're going to go into the lessons learned. The most of them through in hindsight, which is we won't sugarcoat it. Basically, a lot of failure on my part to execute things properly. How's that sound? Do you want to beat up on Sam tonight? You don't have to participate. I can beat up on myself just fine.
Oh, I'll participate.
Awesome.
I definitely
Sweet.
will
I hate.
participate.
I hate
No,
need to be
Sam can beat
squishier.
himself just fine. I don't need to.
Yep.
All right. So I went back up there on, it's supposed to be on Sunday evening, and then work ended up dragging out. I think I went back up on a Tuesday. Yeah, I went back up on Tuesday. Got back in the original drainage that I wanted to hunt and decided I'm going to walk the whole length of the drainage. And on the way back in, I see more boot prints than anything else. Oh, it was also the start of muzzleloader season. So I was seeing lots of dudes in orange in the drive up too. I was like, oh, I forgot muzzleloader even exists.
Mhm.
And I went all the way to the end of this drainage doing
Hold
the
up,
whole.
I have a question.
Fine,
Do you have to wear orange during muzzleloader season?
not for archery. Muzzleloaders have to wear orange.
Just if you're actually shooting a muzzleloader.
I would double check that.
Around
Well,
here,
I'll put it this way: if I was supposed to be wearing orange, I was wearing it anyway, and I
Definitely.
didn't see
You
anybody
have to
else,
be safe.
and I didn't see anybody else archery hunting. Everyone else was breaking the rules.
Archery hunting, it's not required to wear orange. Muzzle loading
In
it
archery
is.
season. If it's
Right.
in a
So archery
muzzleloader or rifle season.
around here,
different.
if you're in the woods during rifle season, but you're just archery hunting, you're actually supposed to wear your orange to your hunting spot, your stand, wherever it is, and you can take it off there. I think that's what I read, and otherwise you're supposed to be wearing orange during rifle season, unless you're on your own private property that you own and live on, in which case you don't have to wear orange at all.
Well, let's just assume I was wearing orange, and Jeff just write me the
Mhm.
ticket right now and get it over with. I didn't see anybody else wearing orange that had a bow, so I don't know what to tell you.
Mass non-compliance.
Yeah, basically, but that's not the point. So I walked the whole length of this drainage. I actually did find elk sign towards the top half of it, so I thought, oh, sweet, I will sit here and wait until evening and see if anything wanders down. Well, I found a nice little right up the middle. So this drainage goes between being 15 yards wide and 300 yards wide. It just goes wonk, wonk, wonk. It just fluctuates the whole length. And once you get to the very top of it, it's like a big open 500-yard across meadow. Well, there's an island of trees. I'm on the wide section. So I got in that island of trees and I'm just going to eat my lunch here. But there was a strong southern wind the whole day. And so I'm like, well, I guess this is a good spot and I can walk out in the evening. And then I started second guessing myself on the thermals, going, well, no, the wind might die down, the thermals. But so I talked myself into walking out of the drainage to go get a couple stuff out of the truck because it was also getting cold. Whatever. I met two guys walking into the drainage as I was walking out of it. And I was like, oh, that explains all the boot prints I saw. One of them had a muzzle loader. Other guy was bow hunting. Putang Clan says, this is Bob. Hi, Bob. Strong southern wind sounds like a country song lyric. No, that's the aftermath of Taco Bell, sir.
No, that's that one song. Like, blow, blow, salmon.
Oh, Seminole
on
Wind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. So someone already beat you to it.
Yeah.
It's not a
Well, I
great
met those
song.
two guys walking in, and that was like, I don't even, how am I going to talk to these dudes? And this is going to be awkward. So I waved hi, and I didn't realize I was wearing my funny little Taliban hat for this whole conversation, so that's cool. But I ended up chatting with them a little bit, and they talked about how basically just informing me that, don't be bugling at them because they're all herded up right now. I was like, oh yeah, I've just carried the bugle around. I've only been doing cow calls the whole time, and nothing's responded. Well, we talked about it, and turns out that no, indeed, the elk are hanging out at the top of the freaking mountain, 10,000 feet in 45-degree angle all the way up. So that kind of was like, ooh, that sucks. But since I told him it was only my second year doing it, and I don't know diddly squat, he's like, all right, since it's your second year doing it, stay right here. And he pointed at the ground, literally right here. There's an elk, there's a bull with cows that's been coming down on the regular for the past week. I was like, oh, sweet. Like, you sure? Like, no, we're going further up. It turns out that same island of trees I was hanging out in, that's where he was going to go hang out in. So if I didn't meet him on the walk down, we would have had an awkward encounter in the island of trees. I was wearing pants. Okay. So I ran back to the truck real quick, grabbed a couple things out of it, gloves, because I didn't bring my gloves up with me because I'm an idiot. grab gloves and whatever. And settled in for the evening in a little spot. And I developed this awesome little plan, which is I'm across. The drainage was about 100 yards wide at this point. I'm going to be across a little bit upslope from where the oak will pop down to the bottom of it. And with the thermals dropping down the drainage. So think left to right. The thermal should be bringing the breeze from my left to my right. To my right, it narrows down real quick to 30 yards. So I'll be able to drop beneath his ass, swing back up through the trees and cow call him. And I'll just call that fat son of a bitch right into me. Perfect plan. So around about 7, it was a little before 7:10. Sure enough, I hear this big ass fucking bugle across from me. To be clear, I never actually saw the elk. It sounded like a freaking monster. It sounded like being yelled at by a pipe organ, but maybe it could have been a little bastard too.
Mike,
Oh,
real quick question.
sorry,
Can
go
you tell the difference between a dude on a call and an actual
Yeah.
animal?
All I can say is that that time definitely there was a depth to the sound that
Something only
I don't
lungs this big can make?
yeah, there was like a raspy undertone. I don't even know how to describe it other than, again, when I say pipe organ, it had that kind of sense of just like gushing air coming out.
Like it just coming out of a huge tube, like a
So, yeah, something. I don't know. It was fucking wild. So I heard that and I got super fucking pumped and grabbed my cow call and went, "You!" And sure enough, boom, he hits me again. I'm like, holy fuck, holy shit. And the whole damn time, though, I should have listened to my gut because that southern wind never quit. So the thermal never came from left to right with the cool air dropping down the drainage. That south wind was just pushing it straight up, which means my plane to drop below this bastard would have winded me instantly. So going back in time, I'd slap myself. What I decided to do was back up a little bit into the trees some more and then see if I couldn't call his ass across the drainage up into the trees to me. And based on the sound, he came right to the edge of the trees and stopped, which in hindsight, I should have known that's exactly what he would do because these elk have been hunted before so far this season, and he doesn't want to come out into that open ground if he can't see that there's for sure another elk across the drainage from him. Or, again, what I should have done is let him get his cows all spooled down in the drainage and then hit him with a call once he's already out in the open. So I called back and forth with that big bastard for close to 20 minutes, and it was a rush. It was freaking awesome.
that sound, yeah, dude.
He responded to both the Slayer Enchantress and my little Phelps Easy Sucker with equal gusto because I'm switching it back and forth to make it sound like maybe there's 2 cows up in here. And I got set up and I fucking ranged. All right, he can approach me from here and here. He can't wind me from the north. He can't drop around the north to wind me unless he crosses a lot of deadfall. And if he does, at least I'll be able to see him. But he never came across. And about 10 minutes of shooting light left, actually it was less than 10, is when I figured out I need to move to him. So I booked it as fast as I could, running about 100 yards up the drainage until I felt comfortable crossing the 250 to 300 yards over. He never saw me. I backed up into the trees to try and get close to him, called again. By that point, he had come. Shut up, Bob. He says every other phrase I say sounds sexually deviant. Probably just me. That's just you, sir.
You're the sexual deviant here, as well as the rest of us.
I should have just rushed at him.
Should have just grabbed him by the neck, man.
He had a deep, raspy gurgle.
Oh yeah, he did. Anyway, I got to a spot where it's like daylight's running out fast. I had a couple of doorways in front of me. I called. He called back. At this point, I think he was getting really skittish because he'd backed up into the trees even a little bit further, but not too far. And daylight. I waited. I would say it got really too dark to see probably a couple of minutes before last shooting light, and he wasn't making any progress towards me. So I was like, all right, fine. I stopped calling. I backed out of my spot, crossed back over, looped around into my bag. He was not happy that I stopped calling. He actually, and this is what gets me. He actually moved to the area where I was last calling from after it was really freaking dark. So as I'm circling back to get my pack, I could hear him move to where I was at. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get you tomorrow, bastard. I'm gonna get you. I know I got your number now. And then further up, there was another bull that bugled back to him in between me and where the other two guys were posted up in that little island of trees. Well, I got down to the bottom of the drainage, get my jet boil going in front of the truck, and I'm waiting for the other two dudes to come out so I can thank them for, the tip. And god damn it, Bob's
Show title.
Anyway,
Thank 'em for the tip.
Thank them for their advice. They came down to their truck. They pulled up. We chit chat a little bit. I was like, "Yeah, you were right. That dude came right down the hill, right where that spot was." Hang on. And then they asked me if I had heard another bull further up the drainage before them, and I said, "Yeah, I did." So they were excited about that. Because it turns out they have 5 other guys with them who are hunting that drainage.
Good lord.
It's not my business to say all the details, but it was a bit of a sentimental trip for him. So they had brought, a pretty big group of people and old friends from Michigan, Indiana type area. And it's like, all right, I just leveled with him. It's like, let's just be on the level here. You've got that many guys in here. It sounds like I need to push to my site B, because they were there first. If he hadn't have said, "Hey, wait right here," I may not even gone back up the drainage, because I would have felt that southern wind at my back and went, "Well, crap, I'm just wind anything walking up here in the evening," because the thermal never turned around. So I just bowed out and said, "Well, that was, that's a freaking win." I didn't see. Well, that's not true. I did see the butt of one elk going back up the hill, but I couldn't tell if it was a cow or if it was the bull. But so on the way out, he's like, "Wait, before you go too far, I did see a 5-point way on the north slope of this drainage, so you should go check that out in the morning." So it's like, all right, that sounds good. You have a good time, whatever. So it's like, well, I'm not going to go drive there in the morning. So I threw all my shit in the truck and drove off and made it all the way around to the top of the freaking drainage, and then realized I'd run over my jet boil on the way out of the first spot. So then I turned around and drove all the way back to the spot and found my jet boil only slightly broken. Then went back and parked for the night. But no, that freaking bull, man, was oof. I wish I got better recordings of him bugling, because it was, he was 150 yards away most of the time, and he was loud as all hell. And yeah,
Get your blood pumping.
Mm-hmm. And I no shit, I called back and forth. Calling back and forth and trying to entice him in for like probably 20 minutes of just back and forth and waiting a little bit. And he if I went quiet, he'd bugle out, and then I'd respond, and yeah, whatever.
This is so
couldn't pull him in though. And then
my story, so I can't wait.
I got so fucking excited thinking I was going to be able to work this one spot and this one, because here's the thing too. Up on top of the fire road. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This is how I knew the dude wasn't trying to bullshit me, because up on top of the fire road that goes up and parallels about 3/4 of the way up the drainage, on my previous spot trip in, and again, this goes towards me needing more experience and needing to kind of listen to my gut more about this is where I should just sit. I had found a big freaking well-used game trail that crossed that fire road up a ravine and then went straight uphill. And I had looked at it before and went, man, they're coming across here somewhere. But I was so focused on walking back and forth and calling, I didn't think about sitting on that spot in the evening. Well, the dude I had met, who I wish I had grabbed his name. I meant to run back by their campsite later in the week.
He definitely grabbed other things, not his name though.
Well, he grabbed his bow. I meant to run back by their campsite later in the week, but I never did. And I actually regret not doing that. But anyway, he had run into a bear hunter who had actually taken a picture of this bull. And I couldn't count tines, but it was if it's the same one, it was a pretty big looking bastard too. But I was excited to try and hit that little game trail in the mornings and then try and hit the drainage in the evening. But then it turns out they had oodles and oodles of guys, which once he told me that, it's like, oh, now I actually understand. why I'm seeing so many damn boot prints, and then all these weird little boot prints with little round circles in the mud next to them. Because there is a 50-something-year-old dude with crutches getting about half a mile up this drainage.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And that dude with crutches was the one sitting at the spot that I was normally in, but he decided not to come up in there that night.
Like, guys, I think I'm hunting an elk pirate.
All I know, he said, yeah, the guy in the evening, he's like, yeah, and if you were seeing weird freaking marks up there, it's so and he said the guy's name, I don't remember it. He's going up there with crutches. He's like 50-something years old. I'm thinking, okay, I feel like a fucking wuss now. Thanks, dude. But yeah. So that was the first day, and that was about as exciting as it got. I went around in the morning, hiked that whole north slope on the side of the drainage up, including where there might have been water coming down, but it was dry. Didn't see hide nor hair of the 5 point that he says he saw over there, and since he didn't bullshit me about the hole on the other side of the drainage, I figured he wasn't bullshitting me about that one that he'd seen a couple mornings earlier. Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. Bumped into another guy the following night who was like, yeah, they're fucking quiet. I'm gonna mute you motherfuckers. I will mute everybody in the face.
Stop saying shit then.
What am I supposed to do? If I say ran into, you'll say, oh yeah, you bet you did. If I said met, you'll go, oh, was it on Grindr? If I say interacted with, you'll be like, how long did it last? One night?
I had a quick conversation with another fellow.
He's got us.
To be fair,
guys.
When you said bumped into, I was going to say,
Just like
did you
they
say
had him.
ope?
No.
Gotta get by you there.
Anyway, continue.
Bob says as soon as he gives up on innuendo, I just flop one out. Well, I was flopping it out that night, sir.
Bet you were.
Big
And you
white
still didn't
boar
diff
in the
conversation.
woods. Oh, I did bump 2 grouse that following morning, but wasn't able to track him down to shoot him. Well, I bumped one,
Yes.
and he flew off, and I kind of saw where he landed. So I got really excited, and I had one arrow with a small game head on it, so I popped that one over, and then started creeping up on him, and then bumped another damn one that went off the other direction, and then deciding which of the ones I should go after, I lost both of them.
Oh,
Although I think they hit the ground and kept on running too. I've not exactly hunted grouse before, so I couldn't tell you if that's what they do or if they hunker down. But yeah. Anyway, searched that whole north side, didn't see anything, and then I'll put it this way: then I got into a rut of bad decisions and giving myself really dumb excuses. We'll put it that way. Since that one elk had come down to the bottom of the drainage, I started getting laser focused in on, I should try and find where they're coming down in the evening. So after sitting on that north end of the drainage on the other side, I mean, basically it's like a big, long freaking, I've described it before, but there's a mountain on the north end of it too. I had found a different spot of a series of what looked like old beaver ponds on Onyx, which is exactly what it was. And I went over there and checked that out the next day and found a bunch of elk sign ranging from probably 3 days old, having done more research, into about a week old. If I had sat there the previous week, it probably would have been a freaking great place to be. Oh, I also found 2 fresh bear shits up in there too. But like one of them was fresh from that night. Like it was
nice.
fresh. So then I had to go quickly and go get my bear stamp on my tag too, just in case. But ended up sitting there. See, this is where it's been so long now. I can't remember if I was there one morning, 2 nights, one night. Dave, help. I forget.
I do not have our Zolio conversations to confirm because it is over there in the window providing me internet for this podcast.
So, all right. So I sat there. I got there.
Joke's on you. He still can't. He's still out there. He never came back.
I got there early afternoon. Sat there kind of closer to the truck in an evening because there was sign all over it. Like, hey, I don't know what to do now. And then sat through over there in the morning, went in the afternoon. and there started hearing guys on 2-stroke engines that weren't too far away, just buzzing up and down trails. Found another guy driving up to his campsite on the road who we stopped and talked, and he was like bitching about the muzzle loaders showing up and scaring off all the elk and how they were elk bugling all over the place until muzzleloader season started, and then they couldn't. All he could ever see was guys wearing orange, all roaming up through the mountains, blah 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 blah. To make a long story short, I got to Friday morning and then went, this kind of sucks. I'm out of here. I was quitting on Friday anyway. So, but basically just came up with a bunch of fucking excuses essentially, which I ended up throttling off to you guys for a while until I had enough time to reflect and jettison a lot of the damn excuses I was coming up with, because ultimately my strategy was pretty flawed from the start. We'll put it that way. And just mindset going into it wasn't right. I wish we'd had this conversation a week ago because a lot of this stuff was fresher. But
You know,
I mean,
it's
essentially,
hard to.
I got my, what I'll say is my, how I was trying to hunt actually, I think reflects mental state somewhat, because I kind of got down in the fucking rut and then stayed there when I really think I should have been up just getting up fucking high and staying up high, which I think was a lot more of Kyle's advice. But then I didn't quite catch, like, well, are they really all the way up there at 10 and 12,000 feet? Or are they hanging out more around 9 or 8,000? Well, it turns out these elk under pressure are up there at 10, 12,000 feet. They are way the hell up there. And they are in that really steep, nasty, gnarly stuff because that's where nobody's actually going.
Well, you know, elk are actually a plains game species. They've been pushed into the mountains due to pressure, but
Sure,
they
Mike.
are. What?
Sorry, that is. I'm only saying that because that was
Oh,
one
I
of
thought-
Mike's favorite facts.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago, almost. He's like, "Did you know?"
Okay, fine.
No, you're good.
yeah,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Vince. I
Continue.
did you know them 2 years ago with this one.
No. Continue, because
But-
somebody
but
might
you-
not have heard that 2
But
years.
again, yeah, he's right. Go ahead.
Elk once ranged over the entire continental United States and
Mm-hmm.
down into Mexico and, of course, up into Canada. But they are an open ground species. In fact, the call, the bugle, actually carries better over open ground than it does in the mountains and in heavy woods.
Mhm.
Compare that to the red deer that actually roars. The red deer, its vocalizations actually resonate much better in hills and in heavy woods.
Well, that
So when it
deeper-
comes,
yep, that
that-
lower note is
that
gonna do a lot better
whistle-
than that higher pitch.
that whistle that you get on the elk bugle actually carries better over open ground.
It carries really well across the drainage.
I expect so.
But no, I mean, I've got a lot of, well, once we get into spring, I really need to take, I said this last year, but now I'm just kicking myself enough that it's like, yeah, I just need to take, like the Tree Lines Pursuit class, or I forget what the class Kyle was, that he was a fan of. Either way, need to take that so that I can do better e-scouting in terms of, instead of looking, because this is going to be my, actually, there's another thing I learned too. And I've heard this before, but I finally got a good explanation for it that clicked in my head. Day to day, almost throughout September, elk behavior changes. So when we were hunting them last year, that first opening week of September, we should not have been worried about trying to find herds with bulls. We should have been trying to find individual bulls, because at the end of August, they're going through the end of August, early September. This is my understanding of it, generally, what I've learned now. That's when their testosterone spikes. They've split off their own little bachelor groups because now they hate each other, and they find essentially like that bedroom space, and that's where you're going to find a lot of rubs, because they've got all that testosterone coursing through them. They're getting their felt off. They're getting mad. They're getting horny, and then sometime towards that second week in September, something in them snaps, and that's where they go out to find cows. And so through that second week in September, that's when they're gathering in their little herds and their harems. That third week, and then into the fourth week of September, that's when the cows are actually coming into estrus. That's when the cows are like, hey, I've got a 24-hour window. in which I need a bull to get this this show on the road. I'm avoiding certain words here so that
Impregnate me.
you can say
Fuck's
it.
sake.
That
Oh,
was-
Sam, real quick.
No,
It's the elk module at Row Hunting Resources.
there you go.
Yeah.
But in that third week where I was hunting them, that's where you got to be careful, especially using bugles, because you don't want some elk going, well, I've already got a harem full of 4, 5, 6 cows. I don't want to deal with any challengers, so let's get the hell out of here. And same goes into that last week of the rut in September too. So now I know a lot more than I used to, and I've learned some important lessons about, going into it with better mindset and more planning. I kind of went in with what I thought was a good plan. It turns out my plan was fairly paper thin, and so when it fell apart, I'm just sitting here going like, now what the hell do I do? And what I came up with on the fly wasn't all that great. But yeah, also probably didn't do a good enough job. This also just goes to mindset. Probably didn't do a good enough job keeping blood sugar up, especially with stress levels, because by the end of the week, then you start getting really in that mental rut after 3 or 4 days of like, oh, this all sucks, blah, 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 blah. Because your hormone levels are all fucked up with stress. So anyway,
Neat.
yeah, kind of neat.
That's,
Well,
that's
it
good
could
to
have been
know
a
for
lot
next
neater.
year.
I would have been very happy to have sat and tried to just work that one damn bull for 4 days in a row, but oh well. You win some, you lose some. I mean, I get it. I mean, it is public land and it is first come, first serve, but I would be the biggest dick on the planet if I was like, well, actually, I'm just going to hunt this bull since I know where he's at now. Oh, so sorry, guys. I mean, I would have very much been within my right to do so in the sense that it's public land, but that would be a super dick move. I think, anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, our elk haven't started bugling yet down here. Actually, the bulls are still together. So, like, the rut hasn't even started.
Dang.
well, some of it is
Yeah.
seasonal. And apparently, the biggest
So there's still
determinator
time.
is length of day too. It's as the day as the length of the days change. Also, we had a full moon that week, which I've heard is not very beneficial. Is not very helpful because then they don't have to come down in the evenings. They can come down a lot later with the full moon instead of
Mhm.
having to stumble through the dark. So, anywho, it was a good trip. I learned a lot. I was beating myself up for a few days over it as I was processing everything, realizing that I really could have been using my time better, but no, well,
It's what it is. Learn the lessons and apply them next year.
that's the goal. The sucky part is that it is apply them next year, not
Yeah.
apply them next month type of deal. I will be applying some of them to. I do have that bear tag that runs from October 12th to November 12th or 14th. It's in that middle of October to middle of November window. I've got to get out there and put some time in on that one at some point. But yeah. So that's life.
Your
No
time
big
is up for the elk. No more elk.
That
No
ended
more
yesterday.
archery elk. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Anything else would have been a lottery draw. I'm saving my points for something. I'm very interested in doing muzzle loader now too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not
Mhm,
sure
mhm.
because the muzzle loader tags tend to be easier to draw than regular rifle season tags.
that's because your muzzleloaders in Colorado. The last time I looked, you actually have more restrictions than other
yeah.
muzzleloader states.
Basically, your iron sights only on our
Yeah,
muzzle loaders,
Yeah.
And I,
which is gonna probably screw me over because if you're gonna force me to use iron sights, then I'm like, ooh, that's like hawk and rifle territory. Instead of getting something that's probably a lot cheaper and B probably more effective for the job.
can you use inline muzzleloaders that use a 209 rifle or 209 shotgun primer?
I have no idea. I haven't looked that
I
deep into it
can't
yet.
remember. I know there's a bunch of stupid rules.
Because that's another one. Like some places are like, no, you can't use the 209 shotgun primer because of I don't even know.
Because then your whole gun is a centerfire cartridge.
Because then the ATF comes knocking on your door asking why you have a firearm.
I think those are technically firearms in New Jersey, and I know Pennsylvania has specifically a flintlock season
Yeah, they
because
do.
reasons.
I think I've heard about that from the old Meat Eater. I think they did something about that in like the first season of the TV
Montana
show.
Montana Dirt Road says the best plan is no plan. I've had better luck just wandering through the woods aimlessly than actually trying to put logic to anything. Yeah, that doesn't work for me very well. I end up just kind of
But-
spinning in circles.
It's because you have to have. If you're going to apply logic to it, you kind of have to have the knowledge to have the logic.
And then he says Montana muzzle loader is traditional iron, traditional only iron sights, external ignition source, cap lock, flintlock, or match lock. Oh man, imagine freaking no inline. Imagine elk hunting with my matchlock. Sit there and make sure that match is burned and blow on it every 15 yards. I used to own a matchlock. I never actually fired the thing because I was a little dubious about its provenance. It was more of a Japanese style, so Mike would have really liked it. 38 caliber.
Weeb gun.
I was really excited to buy it. Yeah, because matchlock muskets to me, or that's not even a musket technically, but matchlocks to me are just exciting. There's something so fucking archaic about like, here you go. You don't even have a flint. Now you have a serpent arm or a dog leg, depending on which style it is. And you have this rope, this little bit of rope, which you'll, depending on how if you want to home make it, you soak the thing in a solution of saltpeter and let it dry. You light it, and you have to make sure this little lit match stays lit the whole time and doesn't go out on you. And then you have to constantly trim it because it's burning away as you go. They're awesome. They're cool. I really want one, but especially when you get one like 75 caliber, the ones that they were using back in like the English Civil War, where there's accounts of these big ass freaking balls of lead, and they're going slow as fuck too. They're not going fast, but like hitting guys in the torso and pushing bits of rib out their back. Like just this giant fistful. I mean, not fistful literally, but just nice freaking golf ball sized lead just going. So
Dusty
Shot
says
shell
this is
primers
the
are
way.
legal.
Oh, nice. When
shot
talking
shell
about
primers
the
for what?
external ignition source, but here in Oklahoma, I can use the inline with the scope on it, and no one cares. Though there are.
Hang on, I didn't hear what Dave said. Sorry.
Shot shell primers are legal.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Y'all know that there are like smokeless powder muzzle loaders, right? That
Yeah.
are legal for primitive season in some places.
Well, I mean, I know smokeless. Oh wait, no, you're talking about legitimate smokeless black powder, not the freaking synthetic black powder.
No, I'm talking about like
Yes,
you can
yeah,
take
never mind.
IMR 4350 and you shove it down the tube, and then you shove a projectile after it, and you go out and shoot the thing. But
I
then,
do
of course,
know
there's
those
also
exist.
Pellet.
states where your primitive season also includes straight wall cartridges. So, yeah.
Sounds primitive.
Pelletized powder systems are prohibited during muzzleloader seasons.
Oh, so you have to use actual powder. You can't use the little pellet things.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal, honestly.
Yeah.
I've had inconsistent results with the pellets in specific firearms. But
Do you use like genuine black powder like GoX or the substitute stuff?
with an inline, I actually use the pellets.
Oh,
But
okay.
you of course you can't use. I've tried using them in other muzzleloaders, and like a side lock, it does not work. Like it does not work. So yeah,
Makes sense. But
it does
Anywho.
make sense once you think about it.
anywho, that's the after action report on the old elk hunt. It was fun. I will admit, I think I like hunting with a buddy better, because then you can be like, so what the hell are we supposed to do now? At least bounce ideas back and forth instead of you're going like, well, I need a message on my Zolio, and then maxing out your Zolio messages in 4 days, going, oh crap,
Damn it!
I didn't max it
I
out.
might have
but
needed this.
I came awfully close.
Oh, smokeless powder is prohibited in muzzleloading seasons as well. So
Montana Dirt
Colorado.
Road says that real black powder is hard to find. Pyrodex works well on cap locks, but you need to have real black powder for a Flint Rock. Yeah, because GoX freaking went out of business or got bought out, and then they were the last ones making real black powder. I got a
Yep.
pound of it before they went out of business. I've
You
been
can make
hanging
it
on to it.
yourself. It's not super difficult.
Yeah, it just takes peeing and charcoal
And sulfur.
and a willingness to blow yourself up. All right, so that's all I got. I'm going to shut up now.
Well,
so that was
better
a
luck
great
next year.
segue.
Hang on. Vince has one little thing he wants to hit on if Bob is still in the chat. Bob,
Oh yeah. You'll see this. You'll see. Okay. We're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this for a second. This is the
and we're banned on YouTube.
no, we're not. Shut up. This is the little quick release mount for the RH25 thermal,
Uh-huh.
and I found out that this lines up perfectly with the 1.6 inch mounts that Gideon Optics has.
He says he's her, which I mean,
I'm her.
if that's it's
Who is she?
2024, Bob. If you want to be a Bobby, that's your business, not mine.
With an eye.
Yeah.
He'll turn into a Baberta.
I was going to drag this up to Colorado. Was this last weekend already?
I think there's 2
Yeah, I
weekends
think
ago.
it
Two
was.
weekends ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the weather wasn't going to cooperate, so it ended up getting
Yeah.
rained out. But
Maybe it was last
we
week.
were going to go shoot some coyotes, but that didn't pan out. But still, that is still on the plan at some point. But
Mhm.
this mount lines up perfectly, and of course, I can't hold it up here because we'll get kicked off YouTube. But lines up perfectly with the 1.6 inch mounts that Gideon has been using for their LPVOs, which
They
kind of
totally did that on
excites me.
purpose.
Yeah.
I bet they did.
Does that mean you can now look through your LPVO and have a thermal
So
image, or do you have to put the thermal in front and then look through the scope?
I'm very
you
curious.
look
about-
through the scope through the thermal. So you have the scope, or you have the thermal mounted in front of the scope. That is the iRay RH25.
Okay.
Bob.
So anyway, it's mounted in front of the optic.
Yes, and so there's a setting in there that's your clip-on setting. So that's what it's called when you do the thing where you put it in front of the optic. It's called a clip-on, and it actually worked with the other mount, the factory mount that it came with on my other rifle that has a 1.7 inch height, but it was not going to work on the 1.6 inch with the Gideon because it was too tall. But with the QD mount, it actually lowered it about not quite a quarter inch, but it lowered it like it's right there. And I actually, so I've made no bones about the problems I have with BDC and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but I actually kind of like the second focal plane reticle with the thermal, because on the low power, I mean, it's nice and bold, it's right there, and you're using the reticle inside the scope through the thermal, and you're not shooting long range. There's no reason to shoot long range with a thermal like this because it does not have the optical quality to pick up thermal signatures at long distances and to correctly identify them. So having a reticle in there that's just big and bold that you can see really well is actually quite useful. So it looks
So what is
kind of
the-
nice through there.
What the hell is okay? So all I'm imagining is trying to look at a digital display through a magnified optic and seeing giant freaking pixels. What does the clip-on set? What does the clip-on setting do? And then how far out can you actually see with that setup? Like actually identify that's a coyote, not my neighbor's husky.
So that kind of just depends on how familiar. One, the identification of different animals depends on your familiarity with just looking through the thermal and identifying things. That takes practice. But as
Right.
far as putting it in front of an optic, the recommended settings are between 1x and 5x on your optic. So
Okay.
you can use this you can use this independently as a weapon-mounted thermal sight. It has a setting for that has a reticle that you can zero. But you can put it in front of your LPVO that's already zeroed, and it's best used between 1x and 5x, and actually zooming in with the scope it gives you a better picture quality than zooming in with the optic, because zooming in with the optic is a digital zoom, whereas zooming in with the optic is of course an optical zoom, so it actually looks better and gives you a better picture quality overall. Did that cover everything?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
We
you
didn't
asked
we didn't
about
want to kill a bunch of time on that, but we did want to bring it
No,
up
I
real
didn't.
quick.
It was just a little thing that I noticed, and it excited me because now I can put this in front of a couple of different things. So I thought that was cool.
Your other rifle project excited me.
The
Hope we can
the
talk
other
about
one.
that later. Yeah.
I'll hit on that now. So because it's the same rifle, with the Gideon optic on it, and I actually have the Rock on it too, in a
Oh, and a
offset
little
mount.
offset.
Yeah. But okay. So Dave asked a while back about turning an AR into a bolt gun so it'd be super quiet. So I have the rifle speed gas block on this rifle as well. I went ahead and grabbed another one, and just full disclosure, like they don't send them to us. I bought this, but it's at a little bit of a reduced price. So it's, they give us a little bit of a discount on it because we talk about stuff, and he's been on the show. But so what's going on with it is I wanted to set it up to where you could turn it all the way down and have it not cycle at all, so that you could get the best suppression out of it with it not cycling, so it basically runs like a bolt gun, but also turn it up so that you could run it normally. And I think I've pretty much got that done. So I had to end up getting new plungers. So the rifle speed has a plunger that rides on a detent on the adjustment collar. And the different length of the plungers actually dictates how much gas is let through at each setting. And they have different lengths so that you can have different adjustment ranges. I went ahead the first time around. I bought the longest one they had because, the longer the plunger, the more of the gas opening that it covers up. And it's a 0.979 inch long detent. And so with that one, actually, it completely occluded the gas on every setting except for the most open setting. And so that didn't quite work because I ended up taking like 2 of the weights out of a buffer to get it to run on setting 12, and it wouldn't even lock back. So I was like, okay, so that's not quite right. So I went ahead and bought 2 more plungers, the 0.947 and the 0.957. And I kind of settled on the 0.947, and I could probably get away with the slightly shorter one, the 0.937, because of course on setting 1 it's completely closed off and it works perfectly as a bolt gun. Like it doesn't even move at all. And I air tested it to see how much air I could hear going through the gas tube, and I can't get any. I don't think through it, like barely, maybe a little bit, just because it's not a perfect seal.
Yeah,
but it's actually completely closed off, and then you open it up to setting 9 or 10 and you get lockback on an empty magazine with a suppressor on it. So with a 0.937 awesome. I might be able to get away. I might be able to do it where it will work as a bolt gun and then work suppressed and then work unsuppressed. But right now I just run it suppressed anyway, so I'm not super concerned about it.
Yeah. No, that is excellent. I was so damn excited when I saw the video, and even listening on the video, I'm like, oh, it's so quiet. It's a bolt action.
I was standing out there without ears on. Like that one's quiet enough that like I don't need it. But
I'm so excited.
I was excited to get that done because I can make it super nice. And Yeah. Shout out to Rifle Speed. Give us a little bit of a discount there so we can play with this stuff. I still think I'm the only one with one, but actually I have two now. So
For now.
I'm
For now.
For now.
I'm really impressed with it so far. I'm also really impressed with the market penetration they've had. I've been noticing their stuff on lots of factory rifles out there. So
See, he says penetration, and nobody says a damn thing.
It's
What-
because he
what's
said
wrong with
factory penetration.
He said market penetration, to be
It's because
fair.
he's got that.
Oh, yeah.
And if I said penetration, y'all be like,
It's because he has the Thanos mug
Well,
and we
because you
don't
would
want
have
to get
said
snapped.
like elk penetration or something
Listen,
weird, and I said
now
mine's
he's
a-
gonna, now he's
mine's
gonna
a
talk
buzzword.
about beavers.
Yeah, Vince's was
Elk
an actual
penetration.
word, and you're up there fucking elk.
Elk
I wish.
penetration is actually
I mean-
in the show notes.
To be fair, that's all you're doing with the cow call is trying to, especially if you do an estrus buzz. I couldn't do an estrus buzz because I didn't practice one ahead of time. But especially if you're doing that estrus buzz, all you're saying is like, excuse me, I need a bull right now. All you're doing is trying to get that bull to come in and
That's the untold story. That's why the bull didn't come towards Sam. It's because when the bull came around the corner, he saw Sam with his naked ass sticking out at him, going, "Come on, little bull! Come on, little bull!" And the bull was like, "No, fuck that."
What are you doing,
And ran
stiff elk? Also, shout out to Gideon. LGH podcast for money off.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of
For
sales
now.
going on right now. The advocate, if you use our code, the advocate is 207.
Dude, $200
Mhm.
for this thing, and let me talk about it.
Hey, wait. LGH podcast for now. I need to email him tomorrow because we're gonna have that switch to moist.
Moist.
Coupon
Yeah.
code moist.
LGH podcast or moist at GideonOptics.com.
Moist LGH podcast.
Coupon codes do not combine.
LGH podcast gets you 10% off. Moist gets you another 0.5% if you dare.
No, moist gets you just a little bit closer.
Eh, boy.
Too
Anyway.
far.
That's what I do. I go just too
Speaking of
far.
moist things, tell me about when you went and fingered some fish.
Dude, I fingered some fish. I fell in the water. It was great.
Very moist.
On the water again.
No.
So
Oh,
moist.
Just wanted to.
Liar. Fucking liar.
Not this
I
time.
fell
Did
in the
not
water.
fall.
I was
Did not
hoping it
fall.
was on a boat this time.
I was on
Did
a
you-
boat.
No,
Did you
out
get
of the
your-
boat.
Did you get your free duck this time?
We'll talk about that.
It turns out there are no free elk. I tried.
Well, sir, that's a moose.
Well, that's what that dude do. I made a meme out of it because it popped into my head. That face when if it's brown or it's down kicks in at that dude who poached that moose up at Woodland Park. And so he thought that was his free elk. Oops.
That's what TFW or that face went. Oh, that makes
It's
way more
TFW
sense now. I was like,
that
what
face
the fuck is TFW? I've never
You
known
didn't
that.
know that
I
face
have-
one?
I have to look up those acronyms about every month to remember what the hell they mean.
I got real
I
tired
asked my
of
daughter-
seeing like no cap and all that nonsense, and
Dusky says the moistest hunting podcast I've ever heard. And you can read that one on air, sir.
we're happy to have made your mom the moistiest.
I mean, someone. Oh, it is. No, it's moistest, not moistiest. Anyway,
I made it the moistiest.
on Timber Road says
Damn.
years ago, an out-of-state hunter aged a llama as an elk.
I'm gonna guess he meant bag.
Tagged.
He did. He had tagged the
Bag.
llama as
Either
an elk.
one.
Was it somebody's poor freaking pack llama? He's like, man, I don't know why this elk had panniers on it, but here we go.
Yeah, and they were blaze orange.
If I'm out deer hunting and I shoot a goat, I'm just gonna eat the goat. Like I'd eat the llama at that point.
Oh boy. Well, they're not a game species, so I don't know what to tell you.
Game
Alright,
warden
Mike,
comes
sorry.
across an elk hunter, and elk hunter has a fresh kill, and the game warden goes, "What do you got there?" And the hunter looks at the game warden and says, "You know what? I got this elk. And the game warden says, are you sure? And the hunter says, I asked him. I asked him if he was an elk. He turned around and he looked at me and he said, nay. And I said, you fucking liar. And I shot him.
Uh,
Was it a
Anyway.
British tourist? Like, nay, sir, nay.
Teeth just as bad.
all right.
So
Ooh.
I got the opportunity to go on a fishing trip at 11 Mile with a group called Fishing for the Mission 22. They're basically a veterans organization that goes out and they sponsor all sorts of outdoor trips, hunting, fishing, hiking, all sorts of stuff to get vets that regardless of what their situation, they want to get vets out there and into the outdoors and doing fun stuff and, off the couch, which a lot of us spend a lot of time on after we get out. It's a hard thing to understand, really, but love organizations like these because they get us out, they get us into doing stuff. And I was out there with a couple of really cool dudes, Noel and Vashon, and between the guide Owen, he took us out on his own boat, didn't bother with one of the marina pontoons because it was just the three of us. So I learned some really cool shit. I learned what a downrigger was. I figured out what an outrigger was at that point. I've heard the terms for years. I just never really understood what they were. But then he's using them, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, these are downriggers. And I was like, oh, that's what those are. Okay. So basically what they do is they take your fishing line, you cast your line out, and then you put the downrigger on it, and it takes it down however many feet you want it underneath the water and drags the line behind the boat.
He said the sheriff's a downrigger.
Oh, dear God, please stop.
Don't.
Muted. Didn't get his laugh. What did he say? I said the sheriff's a down. He said the sheriff's a downrigger.
Oh man.
And
That's
now we're off of
culture.
Rumble.
That's culture. No, I think we'd just be off YouTube. I think we'd be okay on Rumble.
So Owen's got us. He's got two lines, one on each side of the boat, and two on downriggers behind us. The ones on downriggers didn't catch shit. Like he's got radar on he's got the sonar, the depth finders or fish finders, some people call them.
Yep.
He's got one of those, and I'm watching how it works, just trying to learn and understand how everything here is adding up. And yeah, the downriggers didn't do shit. Every fish we caught was on one of the sides. I don't know what lure he was using. It was just some sort of like plastic, one of those ones that wiggles as it goes underwater with motion. We were trolling, basically. It was a trolling lure.
Yeah, you've got to. I mean, how long was your lure? Like,
Yay,
oh,
big.
little guys. Okay, yeah. My
Yeah.
grandpa used to troll up there with big old.
Really?
So what kind of fish were these?
Rainbow. There were rainbow and pike in there.
I thought you caught some damn. Well, hang on. Continue your.
So,
Yeah.
We basically just trolled along until one of the rods get a bite or we cleared it of weeds.
Mhm.
And we took turns between the three of us. We got 7 fish. And then after the trolling kind of dried up, we weren't catching anything anymore. We went off to some other spots and we started doing what I learned was jigging, which you basically throw some sort of bait into the water and hit the bottom or just above the weeds at the bottom, and you try to make it act like an animal that a fish will want to eat. You just jig it along the bottom, and they go up and they go, ooh, food, and they swim up after it.
Mhm.
I never knew what this was. It didn't work at all for me. It didn't work at all for the other guy, but the one guy actually did manage to land a pike, which was really, really cool. Learning. Pike are terrifying. Like, I'm glad I've never caught a pike on my own because I would have shredded hands if I.
Yeah, pike are kind of. They got a mean front end on them.
Yeah. Like they got teeth in their gills, they got teeth in their mouth, they got teeth in place. Their teeth got teeth.
Mike
There's
takes
only
his thumb and just like, I gotta grab it.
Did you keep them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we kept all the
I've heard both way on pike, and I'm pretty sure I've heard some people say, "Oh, it's a trash fish." I'm not inclined to believe them necessarily, but I've heard pike get thrown in that pile of like, "Oh, we don't eat those ones; they don't taste good."
Well, we were out there
pickled pike.
specifically to catch pike and rainbow, so
Pickled pike.
there's got to
Ooh,
be
that's
something
good.
to it.
That's a show title.
Pickled pike is phenomenal. It'll dissolve all the bones in the pickling process. Oh man, it's the only way to have pike.
Ooh, I'm into
That's
this.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The skipper showed us an interesting way to grab them so that you don't get all tore up, and it's basically right behind the eyes. You make their eyeballs go from straight parallel to, and then you
Like
grab
them
them by the
soft-
skull. No,
just
you literally,
cross-eyed?
yeah, exactly. Cross-eye them, jam your fingers in its skull, and pick them up. That's their eyeballs don't have teeth, thankfully. Although, thanks to us, they're probably going to evolve teeth.
Mike,
kinda what
Mike's
you
just
do
in
with-
there jabbing his fingers in the eye sockets.
And Dave's holding up a pair of pliers. I kind of agree. That's what you do with catfish, though. Like you grab them behind the skull, but in front of that dorsal fin, because catfish are actually venomous, and if they fin you with the dorsal fin or either of their pectoral fins, it hurts beyond what it should.
Is that why people do what is
Spicy
known
fish.
as noodling and go out there and wiggle their arm around until a catfish bites it and just pull the fish out of the water with their arm?
No,
You
those
shove
are
your
just
arm
bored
in a
rednecks.
hole.
Sorry, what was that, Vince?
Yeah.
Those are
It's even
bored
weirder.
rednecks. Like the same rules apply. They can still fin the crap out of you, and it hurts, and it'll make you bleed. But they just don't care.
All right then. Well,
I'm gonna go wrestle this fish.
Dusky, if you have a decent pike recipe, I'd love to hear it. So anyway, we catch the pike. It was getting on towards noon, so we just kind of made our way back to the marina and called it a day. Owen cleaned up all the fish for us, filleted them out, everything. The only thing he didn't do was take out the pin bones, which I'll talk about in a second.
One thing real quick. What depth were you catching them at?
About 20 feet.
Okay.
Average. The
You
the
weren't
pike.
that deep out in there, actually.
No. The pike was out there at, like, the downriggers were at 20 feet, and the side ones, they were just going as deep as whatever they were going to. So, but yeah, these were, I've never caught fish this big, aside from the halibut on the Alaskan Ocean charter, but that doesn't count. That was like, throw fish to the bottom of the ocean, 200 feet down, wait till it bites, reel it up. And to be fair, this wasn't too much different, but there was a little more challenge to it. There was a little more anticipation. There was a little more, we don't know what's going to happen.
I've never caught fish this big except for the Alaskan halibut adventure.
To
That
be
was
fair,
just shortly after my African safari hunt.
You posh bitch.
I was TDY on that one. That was a military trip. Bite me.
Paid for by Uncle Sam.
No, I paid for the fishing trip.
America,
Uncle Sam just paid me to go to
forget
Alaska. Here to save the motherfucking day.
I guess.
So yeah, Owen filleted him out for me. The only thing he didn't do was pull out the pin bones, and I was like, well, that was very nice of you. I was expecting to have to do it myself, and I knew nothing about pike. He ended up giving up. Turns out one of the guys didn't know. He had no idea. He'd never been fishing before, so he gave up his shares of the fish, and so we split it between two of us. I made several of the fillets for dinner on Sunday night. They tasted so good, so fresh. Just simple garlic powder, salt and pepper on both sides, and just
And because he's a
complimented.
weeb, he ate it raw.
I actually did peel out. I asked my daughter, "Hey,
I
do you want a
knew it.
chunk of this?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "It's
Nice.
just sushi." And she's like, "Sushi's gross." And I was like, "You're gross." And I peeled
She's
off
right.
a chunk of fish.
I
So
knew
what?
it.
I've
What
seen
Owen didn't
trout
do
on
was
the
pull the
menu.
pin bones out, and you have to with trout. And this is a thing I learned. It's a new thing to me. When you have a trout fillet, if you fillet it properly and you run your fingers down the fillet, you can feel the pin bones inside it. They're kind of little bones that attach the ribs or whatever to the outer part of like it's the thickest part of the fish's muscle, so they're bones that help with the structure. Anyway, if you run your hands down those bones, you can feel exactly where they are. And to cut them out, all you have to do is just take a fillet knife and make a little cut and make a little cut, and you just V that flesh right out of there. And yes, I did very, very badly and took out way more meat than I probably needed to, but didn't have any bones in my meat.
That takes practice.
Unlike
If there's-
Sam, who
if
has
they're-
meat in his bones.
If they're small enough, I just pick them out by hand because you catch some trout that's like, all right, well, that's a nice snack. You don't want to
Yeah.
waste the meat by Ving it, so you just go through and.
That was that fish I caught earlier this year at Skagway.
That's why I like panfish, because panfish are easy to freaking deal with. But
Mhm.
anyway,
But yeah, it was cool.
that and when you you finish getting deboning a bluegill and it looks like little cartoon fish skeleton. They're great.
Special thanks to Fishing for the Mission 22 for setting that up for us. Can't wait to do more stuff like that. It was honestly a lot more fun than I anticipated. I get real nervous about stuff like this with other vets, and I won't dig too deeply down or go too deep down that rabbit hole, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad I did it. So I can't wait to have more experiences. Now, here's what I really wanted to talk about.
Real quick.
Now hold on.
Hold up.
You
Hold up.
sons of bitches.
Now hold up.
Does Noel spell his name like that?
N-
Because there's no L.
No, you need 25 letters of the alphabet. You need A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I'm not
He knows
Sam's
his
battle
letters.
helmet.
Yay.
You know, it's really tough. It's saying the alphabet, intentionally leaving out that important letter.
Dave, is the sad news that there is no other news, or is there just sad news?
Oh no. Old fart dog is no longer with us.
Aw.
So yeah, it's
Poor puppers.
kind of a
Rest in
Yeah, it was
peace,
a-
fart dog.
it was a kind of a rough deal, but she was older than my daughter, so I'm surprised she held on that
Oh,
long.
jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a. She was a big dog for being that old, too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, she had a stroke or something, so it was rough. But yeah,
And
so
she had a good
it's
life,
just-
so.
It's quiet in here.
Aw.
But no, that's all the news I have. No other news.
All right, well, get to your
So,
obsession.
I don't know how I'm going to top that. Or follow that is what I meant to say. Follow.
Are you gonna top
Yeah,
that?
it
Like, guy's
topped my
dog
dead
died.
dog.
Like, come on.
He's like, well, is it
The
still
one-upper strikes again.
Well, I've
Um,
got a knee brace.
Just start talking about your ducks. Just get ahead of it.
I can never get ahead of these dickheads. So I finally got what I have been talking about for all of since the end of June. I got to shoot the Advocate at ducks.
Oh, I was about to say,
I'm
but you probably
actually
got to shoot some ducks again. I was about to say it's been longer since June. It's been a lot longer than June, but never mind.
Well, I've been waiting to shoot ducks since January, but I've been waiting to shoot the Advocate at ducks since June. And
Would you two put it in the muzzle and launch it out there?
Okay, I actually like.
I
the
brought a
Advocate.
slingshot at shit. Go ahead, Vince.
I like the Advocate. The reticle, like the little triangle. That's that's very interesting. Like
I
just,
like it. Yeah.
Just go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear about this. Get out.
So I I did a new thing this year. Last year was my first year hunting ducks, and this year I brought out a call. I did a whole bunch of YouTubing and practicing for the last couple weeks,
Mhm.
waiting in my daughter's picky up line, just.
Meanwhile, everyone around you is like, "What the hell is that sound?"
Probably. And a
Oh my
couple of
God, he
days I
has the
pulled up to
tism.
pick her up, and I look over at her and I go, quack. And the teacher that's dropping her off into the car and they both crack up. So I did it 2 days in a row, and the second lady was like, "Oh my God, that was you! We were looking around yesterday, like, where in the world is that duck?" And I was like, "Yes." So anyway, been practicing.
It is
Actually-
Susan approved. Your calls. Susan
Thank you,
approved.
Susan. Thank you. I'm so happy Susan approved my duck calls. So after the fishing trip, we got done with we got off the boat, everything, shook hands, we're on our merry way about 12:45, at which point, obviously, my daughter couldn't go on the trip, so arranged with wifey, we met up in Woodland Park, exchanged the child, and I headed back up to the lake, set up my decoys with her, and we duck hunted for the evening. Unfortunately, there was a bunch of wind. The birds didn't want to seem to fly, but it didn't stop me from calling, and I was calling, and I was using the monocle that was it Travis just sent me?
Oh, the monocular.
Yeah, the monocular.
The monocle. I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking
Travis's
Monocular. The Travis is
I was using my
ever
monocle on
since-
the duck hunting trip after the safari.
I fucking hate
about?
you.
Oh yes, I
God,
used
you're
the monocle
such a-
after the how did it splash some water in my eye? I haven't been able to see out of that side well since. I think it was infected.
Fucking homo.
Oh boy.
God damn it.
Such dickheads.
I need to breathe.
I hope you don't.
Holy
you do.
shit. That's fantastic.
So I was glassing with my monocular, you dickheads, and I actually managed to see a couple of ducks about 100 yards away. So I'm like, well, nothing. They're just hanging out in another little, offshoot of the lake. And I pull up my call and I start quacking at them. What I had learned was that you don't just quack, 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 quack. That when you have ducks in decoys, or when you have decoys out, you want to make sounds like ducks that are feeding, chilling, hanging out, not, So basically, what you do is you make little conversational sounds that it sounds better in a call, but if you make the sounds like that, and then every now and then a big quack, a little quack, it sounds conversational. It sounds like ducks talking to each other.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, these two ducks start swimming my way. And lo and beholder, these two ducks turn into three ducks. And I'm like, I have three ducks heading my way, and I'm quacking at them. They're swimming this way. Let's see what happens. So I stopped. And they were like, huh. All right. And they just let the wind and the current carry them back further away from my decoys. So I start chattering again, and they start swimming towards the decoys again. I chattered with them. I'm sure they were talking back. I couldn't hear them. The wind was too bad. But not that with my earplugs in, I wouldn't have heard them anyway. But I got them close enough to shoot and finally got down. I absolutely water swatted them because it was so windy, and I have, yes, absolutely, Revenge of the Water Swatter.
Oh, see? Yeah. I wrote down water swatter strikes again.
Ooh.
Porque no los
So-
dos.
They're coming in. There's two grouped together and a third one, and I tried to go for the two together to try to get a spread on both. Wounded one, and the second one took off. I forgot to mention that I was facing west, so I had the sun in my eyes the entire time. I had the sun in my eyes. I had the sun going down. The glare off of the water directly at my face. I had my decoy set up at like my 12 o'clock. The sun was coming down at my 1:30, and the ducks were coming in from my right. So I had to get them past the sun in order to actually like have a visual, but they never swam past that way. So I moved down the bank a little bit in order to get a shot on them. So when I finally get my shot, I take the shot, I see one bird's down, the other bird took off. It flew directly past the sun because, of course, why not? At which point I had a bead on it. I took a shot, I missed, or so I thought. The bird floated down to the water, and I was like, oh, I must have winged it or something. Immediately took Squeezer's advice, took aim, and obliterated it. So I got 2 birds. Ran out there, happier and shit. Go to the first bird that off to the right. She was wounded. She was trying to swim away, but she was fucked up. So I grab her by the neck, and I forgot my duck throat cutter that I was so excited about having bought. Yeah, so I did the windmill. So I windmilled her a bunch of times. I'm about to put her down when she starts flapping and kicking again, and I'm like, what the? So I windmill her even harder, and then I feel her neck break, and right as I feel her neck break, her skin separates, her body flies 20 yards out into the lake, and I'm left holding her head like, what the actual fuck? So, not knowing what else to do, I don't want the head. I throw the head into the water, and I go get the body. Which is why we have no pictures of the second bird.
He's like, oh, it's not dead yet.
Whoopsie.
Sends that duck flying, send that duck's body flying and hits another duck with it.
That would be nice.
Tusky says, it's getting away.
Shoot it again.
Oh.
No, I went and got the second one, and the second one took a good hit. She was dead. So I go up there. I'm happier and shit. My daughter's like, did you get him? I was like, look, I got him. She's like, you got 2? I'm like, yeah, I got 2. So I'm looking at him. I don't see any markings. And I'm like, ooh, hen mallards don't have markings.
One of them's free.
I did have... This one going to cost you. It's the headless
This other one's head fell off.
You can't idea it.
Just duct tape it back on. Sell it to the neighbor kid.
I took care of it.
Pretty bird. Anyway, I'm trying to identify the birds. I'm looking at the plumage. I'm looking at the speculum, which is apparently what that's called, the color on the wings. There isn't any. So I go through Ducks Unlimited and their identification process, and it leads me to believe they are hen mallards. So I send a picture to Jeff and go about my hunt, knowing I should probably be very careful what I'm shooting at. About 45 minutes later, I hadn't heard back from him yet. No big deal. I glass again, and there is 3 more ducks about 150 yards away. So I start doing my thing, start chattering at them, and they start swimming my way. And to confirm that I'm not completely full of it, I stopped multiple times, and every time I stopped, they start floating away again. But if I kept up the chatter, they kept up their paddling. So I got real excited because I'm like, I'm going to get some more birds. But I have to be real careful. I'm pretty sure one of them's a greenhead, but the sun's in my eyes. I can't... So my plan was I moved down the bank about 25 yards and tried to chatter them into a position. My decoys were off to the left, and I was trying to chatter them at least right in front of me, so to pass the sunlight so I could actually get the sun behind them and identify them. Mm-hmm. But it turns out ducks are dumb, but they're not that dumb. I'm the only thing I can think is they got real suspicious when the noise stopped coming from in front of them and started coming from the left of them, but the birds were in front of them, so they just kind of floated away.
Or they looked up on the bank and saw Bridget's headline there. I'm like, oh crap, get out of here.
That's also possible. It's a killing field. Unfortunately or fortunate, so I did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't shoot again because I thought I had 2 hen mallards, and the limit is 2 hen mallards. You can have up to 5 mallards, but only 2 can be hens. You can have 5 greenheads, no big deal. So the prudent thing was not shoot at birds that I couldn't identify well because the sun was directly behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So I let them go. I heard it from Jeff just after last light, and he's like, those might be gadwells. And I was like, what? They're not hen mallards? And he's like, hold up the wing and show me. And I was like, all right. So I hold up the wing, and it turns out that hen mallards have a very bright purple speculum. That's what sets them apart from like other hen ducks, such as gadwells, that have absolutely no bright colors at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the front of gadwells, they have a speckled coloring that reminds me a lot of pheasants. It's got the same kind of orange and brown pattern, but it's mixed in with a lot of bright white. So it was too late to do anything about it. Turned out I had 2 gadwells instead of 2 hen mallards, and it's disappointing to know I could have gotten some more ducks, but at the same time, the old adage with birds and bush and whatnot, I'm happy to have the 2 ducks.
Well, and better to, better
bird
to
in the
not be
hand.
walking out of there with a whole bunch of ducks that you're like,
And a big ticket too. Like
This is my free duck pile.
all of these were my free ducks, sir.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the slammer.
Fair. So,
is that a Thanos?
it's part of the.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
you just noticed. That's why I made the
Yeah,
comment
it's
earlier. He was going to
awesome.
snap us.
If I was talking, I'm looking over here as I freaking speak into the ether. I'm not looking at you. What do you think? My attention devoted to you, sir?
It's not. Crap.
No, that's my ceiling up here.
I'm not the center of attention.
Oh, I thought you were looking at the trash can.
No, that's over there.
Okay.
So it's to the good, honestly, because I now know how to identify gadwells. And if I shoot some again, I can be like, these are gadwells, and I have more free ducks.
I swear, we need a sticker or a patch that says "This is my free duck."
Dude.
I sent you AI art of the shackles around the duck's wrist. I'm thinking it's more like we need a set of like a handcuff. We need something that suggests you're going to prison with the excuse of, but it was my free duck.
We need a T-shirt. This is my free duck. Let's go hunt podcast.
Except for I don't want to be accused of promoting sketchy hunting practices.
Yeah.
I don't either, but it's funny.
Game wardens all around the country are hearing shit about. This is what he said. He had a free duck. Where did that all come from?
What is this nonsense?
Turns into a
Anyway.
giant scandal or
Look.
cases, and pretty soon there's a Wikipedia article about the term free duck, and under there is his origin. Podcast full of 4 idiots.
Look, all press
Fair.
is good press.
We may not get any clothing sponsorships with Sitka or whatever, but we might be able to line up some with some sketchy Chinese factories.
I'm pretty sure that's what Sitka did, and then charged $250 a pop for him.
Ooh.
I could live that life. I'll even charge
Zing.
you 30.
Shots fired.
So
We just have to come up with a weird digital camo pattern that everyone wants. Because if you're not wearing it, the deer will know you are poor.
this is true.
The deer were
can't have.
laughing at me.
Yeah,
That's
see,
the problem.
Dusky's got a good point. The ducks at the park are also free ducks, so that could be what the shirt is referring to. And one just doesn't ever necessarily know what "this is my free duck" means.
that elk saw
Mike?
me wearing a combination of multicam and M81 Woodland and went, "Oh shit, that guy's poor. I can't let him kill me."
Mike,
He's
have you
wearing
tried to
surplus
shoot?
clothes. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Have you tried to shoot ducks by throwing chunks of bread at them?
Well, you see, officer, my sandwich fell out of my pocket while I was setting up my decoys. I don't know what happened.
The crawfish
I don't
ate
know.
all the turkey and the ducks ate all the bread. I mean, what do you want from me? Man, there's a lot of ducks down there. Anyway,
I had a big sandwich.
so on my elated by my success from the night before, I wake up at 5 a.m. I barely slept. Not so. I mean, I barely felt it. Just awake all night. And 5 o'clock rolls around. Look at the phone. Like, oh, it's only 1 in the morning. Nope, it's 5. Okay, I guess I'll get up. And I told you guys the hardest part for me is the transition between hunting and bed. Like getting dressed, getting food, getting out. That's the hard part for me.
That is a hard part. Versus being
motivation.
like, I could stay in bed for 10 more minutes,
Right.
I suppose.
Right. Well, it's comfortable. I mean, ish, and warm, and you don't have to do stuff. And then you turn around and there's stuff to do. But then getting out there, that's where it gets good. So I get up, get out, get the decoys up, let the daughter sleep for a couple hours, and then went back to check on her. I had a couple of. I don't think I know how to call them in from the air yet, but I had a couple of small flocks come in, and I think one of my problems is I don't understand the correct time to actually shoot a duck landing. There was a very big, what seemed like a huge greenhead and a hen mallard right next to him, and they were coming in. They came in straight at the decoys, flying right towards me, and that's when I shot. But I didn't know how far away they were, and I shouldn't have shot it because watching the drake specifically, he was flaring. It looked like if I had just waited, they both probably were banking in to come land in the decoys, but instead my dumbass jumped the gun. No pun intended. So that's hard lesson number one. Then another flock comes in. I actually let them land, and then I get the what's that? Paralysis by analysis. I got paralysis by analysis. So many ducks landed. I finally picked one, got up to shoot her, and she saw me and flew away, and I missed. So, I saw these ducks. I saw her come in. I had a great shot at her as she was flaring out right before she sat down, but instead I scared her off.
And did you empty the mag tube at her?
Yes.
I figured. I would have too. I don't know how well it translates over to duck. I do know with the geese and crane both, you wait till they hit that flare out, and there's a half second where they stall.
Where
as
they're
they come
barely
down.
moving.
Yeah, where they're freaking hanging in the air for a moment before they settle down. Oh, there goes my phone. I'm not sure how well that translates over to ducks because, the opportunity I had to shoot a duck with you last year. I was busy looking at kayaks instead. So
Yeah, but you and I were so busy, so we weren't.
I was shopping for kayaks. I'm
Right,
thinking,
we
"There's
weren't
no
paying
damn ducks
attention."
coming right now, and next thing I know, there's ducks. Oh,
Those three
you should-
teal just
you should
flutter in there.
You should shoot the one on the right. I'll get the one on the left. Okay. Should
We
do
should
it
have
on
just
the count
stood
of
up and
three?
shot.
And then off they fly.
Yeah, just stood up and shoot. That's, to be fair, I did get one of them, but paralysis by analysis. Just stand up and shoot, and I think that's the problem. Is I've gone from that extreme to the other extreme to just standing up and shooting and not waiting for the opportune moment.
You'll even out.
And that's kind of what I came to say is, yes, I'm disappointed by the bad decisions. I'm disappointed by the missed shots. I'm only slightly disappointed by the missed birds opportunity because I didn't have what I thought I had. But again, I'm not going to knock myself for that because I did the right thing. So
I will say
it's all
too,
a learning experience. I'm learning from all of it, and I can't This is the best part. I get to go again. Like if I want to, I can go Saturday morning before I head down to Springfield for the banquet.
So you can go any day.
Yeah. No, I have
That's
to wait till Saturday.
I will say about the like again shooting the geese and the crane. When it comes to timing when to actually shoot their asses, it like you're waiting for the guide down here to say kill them, and you're like, come on, dude, they're right there. Just say it, and then he'll finally say it. But yeah, you let those fuckers get in pretty damn close.
I let the
I don't know
flock of
how
7 or 8. They got into the water. They all sat down. Like I let them get too close.
Yeah, again, probably because you don't want them to get so close that they spook off your decoys if they still tell the difference. But I mean, who
Right.
knows? Again, all I know is they're awfully damn close, and usually some of them are land, but they wait till they get a big bunch of them that they hit that point where they come, they flare, they slow way the hell down, and then when you shoot them, they do that. They're freaking panicking and flapping and trying to get speed up again. So whatever. But
No, I think that's something I have to learn when to time. If there's a couple coming down and they're about to flare out, stand up and get them spooked so that they try to. Yeah, this is something I can work on in a couple of weeks.
when you need to spook them out of the water, throw a dead elk, a dead duck head at them.
Hits duck in the head. Duck falls unconscious. What the hell? Just killed a duck with a duck.
I don't think that's listed under the illegal methods of taking the brochure.
I killed a duck with a fucked up duck.
Oh, cool. I want to get out there with you again. We'll get something
Yeah.
put up in October.
I love that duck season's 4 months. So
yeah, that's nice.
we'll
I
make it
wish there
happen.
was another week of elk because I had to go back to work, and I kept trying in my head leading up to last week, going like, "Can I somehow get out of this?" And but I was awful. I was trying awfully hard in my head to find a way to get out of it.
Yeah. I'm trying real hard to find a way to get up there opening day, October. Like that's why I have to wait till Saturday. The reason I was out the weekend before opening day is that it's the military youth and veteran weekend.
I forgot about that.
So it hasn't actually opened yet. Because I was like, oh, I can just go again Monday morning. It'll be fine. No, I can't. I had to wait till Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right.
And then I was like, oh, well, if I don't go Saturday, I can go Monday. No, I have a dentist appointment Monday morning, so no, I can't.
Your dentist can wait, dude.
Right?
You've got all next summer to make that appointment.
Right? I got non-hunting season to get my teeth looked at.
Mm-hmm. Besides, if you're missing a tooth, it makes it easier to call.
I want to see your
That's right,
peer-reviewed research on that.
Well, my peer-reviewed research is there's a lot of old guys missing teeth who have killed a lot of animals.
That's fair.
Beat that logic.
The missing tooth
I
is
can't.
their cigarette hole.
In their teeth or in their neck?
Out there yelling at elk like, get your fat ass back here.
Got a whole freezer full of popsicles.
Oh, that's fucking creepy.
Okay, so I got one last thing because I hit the duck head. So when the advocate showed up, it came with this really, really cool thing. This little honeycomb thing that goes on the end of it. It's a glare shield, so that when you point the optic directly into the sun or sideways from the sun, your enemy, such as the ducks, can't see the glare off of your optic.
It's also
And
called
I'm
flash.
Okay, kill flash. I knew there was a different name. Thank you for the actual name. So there's a kill flash on the advocate right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm tracking ducks with it, as I'm looking down the barrel and I am getting the sun directly down my retinas, I realize I'm wearing glasses.
Also, the kill flash will restrict some of the light coming into the optic.
Did you give yourself DIY LASIK?
No, I just realized that the kill flash is doing nothing when I wear glasses.
Oh, that
But
makes more
with a
sense.
1x optic, you're getting like it's not reducing the amount of light coming in enough to matter.
Mhm.
True, true.
I do have the lattice coming crisscrossing, and it's annoying, so I'm going to take it off because, again, I wear glasses, and it's not really, it's not doing anything. By the time the enemy sees the flash, they're going to be flapping like this.
Oh, is that what the Taliban were doing?
That's that's why they have the towel, so they can unfurl it, and it's wings.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
Speaking
So
of
that's-
Taliban, now's a good time to mention we have a new affiliate with Camarado.
I didn't do a Taliban LARP for Camarado. I did a roughly second Chechen war crime LARP for that one. Yeah. I wore my
Well-
Taliban hat for that whole outcut. Let me tell you, you may look slightly silly out in the woods wearing I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's called a pakul or pakol. It's actually it might have its origin in like an ancient Greek hat because there's artwork on vases of like Alexander the Great. They may have gotten that hat specifically. It's like a little wool brim with this rolled up wool. I mean, it's like a wool condom for your head with a flared out tip.
It's an extra large newsboy hat.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, if it gets cold, you just roll it down over your ears. When it gets hot, you just roll it on up. The origin of that hat, though, it might have gotten to that whole Afghanistan region back then, but with Alexander the Great's conquest, because that's where that hat may have actually originated from, is it might be a Greek and or Macedonian headwear. Anyway, you may look like an idiot when you're out there wearing it, but let me tell you, I love wearing that hat when it's freaking like mid temperatures because it gets hot, you just roll it up a little. It gets cold, you just roll it down a little bit.
I knew a guy in the Air Force who wore his beanie cap. Most people put the beanie over their ears, and then like they would tuck their EPs up underneath their hat, and then the hat like crumple around. Well, this dude, his name was Harold, and
His name was Harold.
his nickname was Jimmy. Actually, that's more important. His nickname was Jimmy. So he would roll it up, and he would put a little tip in it, and he would roll it up and like a condom, so that his EPs weren't touching his hat. And I was like, "What are you doing, walking around with that Jimmy hat?" And he's like, and I just went about my way, and I was like, "Holy shit, there he is." Anyway, so yeah, we got a new affiliate with Camarado, camarado.com. That's where all the cool gear all the cool camouflage that Vince is wearing and that you see me wearing in all my pictures and stuff. It is designed by our buddy Sean Heron from We Like Shooting. He basically came up with it through asking, you know what? What? He basically he asked.
There's dead silence here.
Am I muted?
He wanted to come up with a camouflage
Yeah.
that he could wear out in public without feeling like a LARPer. Because apparently the man does not have, even though his balls hang low, he does not have a big enough set to wear a DCU jacket, which is no longer a camouflage pattern that's being used by the U.S. military to avoid accusations of being a LARPer.
Or homeless.
Or homeless.
Mostly homeless.
I mean, the homeless have no qualms about looking like stolen valor LARPers. I mean, you get those guys on the side of the road that says, "I'm a Vietnam vet. I lost both my legs in Saigon." And then you notice they're just tucked up inside the wheelchair.
Like Lieutenant Dan. Yeah, that's what I was saying. He's trying to avoid looking like a homeless, so he invented his own camouflage called
his beard
Camarado.
makes him
And
look
it's
homeless.
dude, Vince loves his. Vince
So he's got a number of patterns, and one of them is Scout, which is kind of based on the Rhodesian brushstroke, as far as the color palette goes. And I'm actually annoyed at how well it works around here.
It works like phenomenal down there.
He sent us
I
a
had a
picture. It was
freaking-
amazing.
It's annoying. I actually need to harass him. I need him to send me other things.
So here's what I told him, and I've told a bunch of people this. What I like about Camarado is the tree-like pattern that it's got. It's not like normal camouflage, like multicam or any of the stuff that I used to wear that's got kind of rounded edges. And no, I don't count ABUs because that wasn't a real camouflage pattern. But everything else, it's got the rounded edges, and there's not a whole I mean, yes, there's round stuff in nature, but a lot of the edges in nature are sharper. They're not straight. Nature abhors straight lines, but they're sharp. And what Camerado does is puts a lot of sharp lines in it, a lot like Real Tree, but way better in my opinion. Because Real Tree camouflages you from this tree over here. Camerado camouflages you from basically everything because it's made up of colors intentionally selected from specific environments to help you blend into those. Like the original, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Is the original, the Warden, was it's I don't remember how many colors, but it's a ton of different colors all blended into one. And if you wear that basically most places in Colorado, it works pretty well.
We must admit that some of the camo patterns and color palettes are just there to be cool.
And
But also some of
ostentatious
them
AF,
are-
like Radical.
Whatever that orange one is, I don't know.
Ember Storm is...
Storm.
Hey, that was... Ember Storm's awesome. All right.
If it was actual blaze like orange, that would be really useful.
I think
Not here.
he did do the color code for Blaze Orange. However, it doesn't translate well on the specific hoodie. But it still is. It looks cool as fuck.
Either way, some of the patterns
it.
are actually really useful. I have one in Warden. I have a Windbreaker in Warden as well, which works pretty well. Like I said, I need to harass him, have him send me stuff.
I very much love the
hey.
Sun Spear for hunting.
And being
You
the
want your
dickhead,
stuff in dead animal pics?
and being the dickhead of the group, I will say, a lot of what it's patterned in is fashion camo. Yeah, a lot of it is stuff that you're going to wear to Costco. He has a couple of he's been trying to roll out more stuff. I've been hounding him a little bit. They have the thing that I have last time I was at the office. I gave it a look over and felt up. There you go. It's just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's got a long sleeve like hoodie, like a I can't think of
the sun
word
shirt.
off my head. Yeah, like a sun shirt with a little hood on it.
Yeah, the hooded sun
That's
shirt.
actually a decent material for hunting. I'm probably going to stick with my BDU tops for huntings in fall because, I love having pockets everywhere. Like being able to put my Zolio in the top left shoulder pocket. So when I need to point it up at the sky to send a message, I just do this and raise my elbow so it's flat and go, there it goes. Cool. But yeah.
That's why I wear everything on a belt and just click the belt around my waist so that I can wear whatever the fuck I want.
Someone's just going to see you standing there like this in the woods and they're going to be like, dear God, it's Slenderman.
Yeah.
So
I like Camerado because there's hidden Sasquatches.
Yes.
That is fun.
I do love the hidden. Actually, I was wearing it the other on the fishing trip, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, there's a Sasquatch in your hoodie," and I was like, "Yes, there is."
you're like, hey, Dick, I'm not that big.
Anyway, Camerado.com, use coupon code Let's Go Hunt, all one word, for some amount off.
And they do not sponsor us. That's important.
They just
we have to dictate that. They're not giving. They don't sponsor us. This is just we're buddies with them. So
A cool thing.
It's a cool thing, and you should go buy the cool thing and save a little bit of money buying the cool thing because the cool thing can help you hunt better.
Yep. All right. So we have a review that came in actually all the way back on August 28th, but Uncle Rat did not email me. My uncle's not a
Did
rat.
he send you snail mail?
I think that's
Maybe.
okay. So from the content of it, I think it's pre when you were saying email me. So,
No, August
I think he
26th.
gets
I've been saying it for a long time.
dude, he's on episode 18.
That's very true.
I didn't read that part.
Yeah.
I didn't read the review. I just skimmed it because I was going to read it on air.
Okay.
I think he's pre-Vince.
Well, Uncle Rat, when you read this in about 6 months, you'll know. I found your podcast last week and I'm up to episode 18. You guys are a hoot. Hunting here in KY Jelly is a lot different than out there. Oh, sorry, that's Kentucky. We only have to worry about black bear. Only blah, 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 blah. Hey, you smell burning toast? We only have to worry about black bear here. There are a few.
Bondulance.
There are a few cougars, nice, but very seldom seen unless you're in far eastern Kentucky. The mountains were far eastern Kentucky in the mountains where our elk herd is. They probably don't have any teeth. You got to get those Western Kentucky cougars. Keep going, guys. I look forward to hearing more. Greg. Well, is he Uncle Rat or Greg?
Greg the
Uncle
rat.
Greg Rat. Well, Uncle Greg the rat. If you ever hear this, email me at sam@lghpodcast.net and I'll send you some stickers.
Isn't it .com?
It is .com.
It's
.com,
.com.
So email him
LGHpodcast.com.
at .net and you'll get some stickers.
LGH Podcast.
That won't be from us.
It's
but
been a
they'll be
long-
from someone.
It's been a long damn day.
It's stickers from Timu.
It's been a long damn day.
It's Let's Go Hunt. Anyway.
Yeah, LGH Podcast. Sam@lghpodcast.com. Send me an email eventually, sir. By the time you get around to it, if you're on episode 18,
He's
I
got a
probably
good
will
solid
forget
2-3
all
weeks
about it.
left.
So
So anyway,
Dusty says, "Hey, email me to know. Email me to let you know that. Email me to let me know that you emailed me." Exactly.
Can we end this shit show
Damn.
before one of us has an actual stroke?
All right,
so
goodbye.
anyway, support the sport and take a buddy hunting. And while you're hanging out with that buddy, tell them about us. Get some trauma training. Search for Let's Go Hunt on YouTube, Instagram at Let's Go Hunt Podcast, and at Reddit at r/Let's Go Hunt Podcast. I actually posted something today, which I hadn't done in a while. Links available at lghpodcast.com. Just go there. That's where everything is. Check the show notes for info on Initiative 91, which I think has changed to Initiative 127. The ban on hunting in Colorado. Thanks for listening, and let's go hunt.
I forgot I meant to trim that all down last week, but
You did forget to trim that all down.
I forgot
salmon
to say
elk,
that gadwalls make really good bulgogi.
salmon elk, Seminole wind. Thanks for the tip. Elk pirate, pickled pike. How about pickled elk pirate?
Elk,
No,
pirate,
that's
pickled
just
pike,
weird.
Revenge of the Water Swatter. I'm
Look,
just
we
saying
already
those.
have the water Strikes Back down here, so
All right,
we
I'm
definitely
ending it.
need
Bye
Well,
bye.
it don't matter.
bye.
Water Swatter
Bye,
strikes
Dusty.
back. Got it.